Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about the carb that makes you thin. In a world that seems to be so scared and afraid of carbs when it comes to weight, the irony is that probably the number one underrepresented food group in your diet that if you add in will help you more than anything else lose weight, ironically, is a carb, in my opinion. And the carb that makes you thin are whole, natural, whole food carbs. So, yes, if you're eating donuts and breads and cookies, yes, those refined carbs might be a problem for your weight. But when it comes to really getting your weight under control, your eating under control, there's probably no better thing that you could focus on adding and making fundamental to your eating than whole natural carbs. And to prove that point, I referenced the blue zones. If you're not familiar with this book, it was a book that was written probably 20 years ago now. And they wanted to find which populations on Earth had the highest percentage of people getting to 100 years old. And they went to the 5 top areas with the highest percentage of the population getting to 100, and they studied them. And what they found out without exception is that every one of these people lived in a community or a population that really consisted of whole natural carbs as the primary food source. Let me put it a different way just to drive the point home, that the healthiest populations on Earth in the modern world consumed high carb diets. And they were also low protein, but that's another story. So they were consuming high carb diets. So we've been so conditioned to think that carbs equal overweight that we have kind of missed the main point that yes, refined carbs in certain forms are going to be an issue for most people, but whole natural food carbs are the solution for most people. Now, again, I just want to make a quick point. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. Go, talk to the people you need to talk to before you make any dietary changes. But for the majority of people, adding more fiber that comes from whole carb foods is going to be one of the most powerful things you can do to get control of your eating. Now, when we look at refined carbs, this is a real issue too. I want to make that clear. The number one source of calories for American adults are baked goods. Okay. So flour, is sugar, refined sugar. These are 2 huge sources of carbs that when refined can really cause a problem. They lead to overeating. They lead to metabolic dysfunction. They lead to weight issues a lot of times. So yes, getting your refined carbs under control, crucial to getting your weight, your health, and your happiness under control. But typically the easiest way to get them under control is to start putting more whole natural carbs into your body. When you build your diet around whole natural carbs, you get more fiber, you get more nutrients, your body starts to work the way it was meant to. And again, this is all verified by the blue zone populations. If you're feeling a little nervous, that they are populations consisting of primarily high carb diets, and they're thriving. They're doing great. And if you look at the world, most cultures consisted of high carb diets. That's what most humans ate through most of history. The idea of high protein diets, the idea of no carb diets is very unusual and is absolutely unnecessary to get your weight under control. So if you've been struggling with your weight, do something that may seem counterintuitive, which is crazy at this point in and of itself, but start eating more whole natural carbs and see what happens. And if you want some support actually doing this, because again, knowing is one thing, being able to do it's another. And I give you a free hypnosis session. You can click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself Thin and go get the free hypnosis session I give you. It's called The New Thin Me. It's designed to help you clarify your goal weight, connect to it, and get motivated very, very deeply to achieve it. And if you've never experienced hypnosis, this is really a powerful way to experience it firsthand. So go check that out. It's completely free. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. It's nice to be back. I missed last couple of days. I missed last Friday, missed yesterday. It was a holiday. Nice to be back. If you have any questions about your weight, feel free to ask them. It is important to remember that I invite any questions about weight loss. It doesn't have to be about mindfulness. It doesn't have to be about hypnosis, Program Yourself Thin, none of this stuff. Any weight loss questions are welcome. Because again, before my clients get involved with Program Yourself Thin, they live in the world of dieting, just like the rest of you, where they're trying to figure out how to get their weight under control, typically by looking at all the popular diets that exist out there. But again, in Program Yourself Thin, we take it in a different direction, and we do tend to focus more. Flip this as usual. I always forget to mirror my thing. We build around the goal weight pyramid, right there, mindset, lifestyle, and eating. Right. So we take it a step deeper. So it's not just what to eat, but more importantly about how to get yourself to do it consistently. And I think that is really the missing piece for most people. I would say without question that when it comes to weight loss, I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been doing this professionally for over 25 years, but I think most people have a pretty good sense of what they should eat. The big problem starts and shows up when you try and get yourself to do it consistently. And that is probably the bigger issue for most of the people in the world. And, it's a challenge no matter what, but it's an extra challenge when you've never learned how to run your own mind. If you don't know how to influence your behaviors in a deep way, how would you not struggle changing your behaviors and changing your eating, and then ultimately changing your weight, see, Dina Hoskins says, stop. That's funny. I don't get a lot of people saying stop on here, so I appreciate that. Cut it out. Stop talking this shit. I just want to go back to my diets. I just want to use my diets to lose weight. I'm going to willpower it. You're just going to eat better. But again, that doesn't work for most people. And my message here is that if it hasn't worked for you, the big thing is don't blame yourself. And I know that makes that like typical diet or bullshit, but I think I think the idea that you're going to blame yourself for not being able to stick to some extreme diet is wild. I just think that's a crazy concept. And I think the better blame is deserved to be aimed at the diets. I think when you really consider a diet, it's such a silly strategy. The idea you're going to wake up one Monday and completely change your eating for good. I just think the idea of that is the silliest, and I don't blame you though. Please understand, this isn't, I'm not making fun of you or belittling you or judging you. I'm not judging a dieter ever, because we've all been conditioned our whole lives to think like dieters when it comes to weight loss. And so, we want to lose weight. So we say, okay, what plan am I going to follow? What plan am I going to follow this time? And we say, oh, I'm going to do this plan. And this is, okay, here's the paper, right? Here you go. Here's your plan, and now just follow it. But again, I mean, the idea, that's why I try to make the distinction. Knowing what to do and being able to do it consistently are two totally different things. And I don't think you ever learned how to really change your weight in a dramatic way. Yeah, Amanda G says, that's me. That's okay though. Okay, listen, you're in the right spot. Please understand. I always go by the philosophy that, hate the diet, love the dieter. You know what I mean? That's how I operate. So that's why I'm here every day. Monday through Friday, I'm here at noon Eastern to help all of you get better control of your weight. And I believe the way to do that is to get better control of your mind. I think the food matters too, by the way, but I do think the mind is crucial. So Michelle says, new follower here, was unable to find the free hypnosis link in your bio. Could you link it here and reply to me after the live? Thanks. I'll do you one better, Michelle. I'll link it right now. I will literally put this in there. I always forget in Facebook land and YouTube land, it's a little different to get to the free hypnosis session. But here's the link. Go click that. It'll bring you right to the page. It takes you 15 seconds to opt in and fill in a little information, and then you'll get it. If you're on TikTok, though, you can click my picture on the top left. And excuse me, I do not know what's going on up in here. I've had a 2-week, I'll take it because I haven't been sick, but it's just like I'm not sounding 100%, and I don't know what is going on there. And I apologize. I got to listen to that. I know someone got all irritated the other day. Clean your nose. That's annoying though, because I've actually been editing some video. I'm like, it is annoying. So I'll work on not sniffling. What's up, Natalie? Glad to see you. Yes, I did miss a couple days. I am back now. Yesterday was a holiday, which I was unsure of. And then Friday, I don't know what happened Friday. Something happened. Nina says, I think your message is exactly what we need. It's helping me a lot. That's awesome, Nina. I appreciate you saying that. I think my message is needed too. I really do. Not to be all conceited and shit, but I just think when it comes to weight loss, good Lord, we really don't get good information. And I'm a conspiracy theorist with this stuff to the extreme because I think there's so much money made off of people being overweight, unhealthy, and unhappy. I just think it's probably one of the biggest drivers of the economy. And so I think there's so much money being made that there's no real motivation to genuinely fix this issue. And don't get me wrong, they love the GLP-1s. That's the dream come true. But the idea that you'd actually be able to, again, in a strategic way, get your mindset, your lifestyle, and your eating under control, I don't think that's a real popular concept for the powers that be. I don't think these diet companies, these food companies, even the medical industry, I will say it, I don't think their top goal is to how can you live as a healthy, happy person for the rest of your life? Because if you were able to do that, if the population was able to become healthier and happier naturally by changing how they think, by changing how they eat, how they live, that's a lot of money lost. That's a lot less insulin being sold. That's a lot less diets being bought. That's a lot less processed food being bought. And I don't think that that's really their motivation. So I think we all live in a reality where we've just been pumped bullshit into our heads our whole lives about how to lose weight, to the point that now here we are 60 to 80 years into diet culture, and we haven't had one single diet rise to the top of the list to be effective any more than the others. Now, let me just clarify that. Yes, diets can work when you do them in the short term. I wouldn't argue that. I'm talking about long term. There is not one single diet in history that rises to the top of the list as a good way to lose weight long term. And that's a crazy thing to think about, in my opinion, because we've had them for a long time. What's up, Sharon? Sharon says, well, when you put it that way, it does seem silly. Yes. Again, the idea that we're going to change our eating all in one moment, one Monday morning, you're going to wake up and completely change your eating. To put it in a different perspective, because I don't think people think of it this way, because again, you've been conditioned to think about your weight loss and your eating as a willpower exercise. But let me just frame it slightly different for you so you appreciate the extra levels that make it so challenging. Waking up on a Monday and saying, I'm going to eat totally different from now on would be more closely like if you woke up one Monday and said, you know what? From now on, I'm going to use my other hand to write, to use my phone, to brush my teeth, and to use my computer mouse. Just those things. So when I'm going to change a ton of stuff, just those things. I dare you to wake up one day and use your other hand to use your phone. No, but let's take writing out of it. Writing's a little extra hard. I bet if you woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, I'm going to use my other hand to use my phone, to use the computer mouse, and to brush my teeth, I bet you wouldn't make it to an hour through the day. Why? Because those are all things you've learned how to do automatically with your normal hand. And if all of a sudden you take all that normal automaticity that you've developed and you say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to think about every little thing I used to do on autopilot. What's going to happen is your cognitive load goes way up and you get overwhelmed, you get tired. And so a lot of people internalize their weight loss struggles and their diet struggles as a personal failure, that you didn't have the willpower to do it. I 100% reject that and believe that the reason you haven't lost the weight you wanted to more than anything else is because the diets are a shitty strategy, a shitty, ineffective strategy. And of course, when you look around and realize no one loses weights with diets long-term, and statistically, it's estimated that 85 to 95% of dieters that lose weight. So 85 to 95% of the successful dieters put the weight back on. I think that reveals that this isn't a you issue. It's a diet issue. It doesn't work. But you've been conditioned in your life to believe that it does, and it's the main way you lose weight. And so, you just keep banging your head against a wall trying to make the diets work, and they never do. And, that's one piece of the puzzle. But the thing you got to start doing differently is stop blaming yourself for that and start blaming the diets. They're not built to succeed. Diets are not built for you to live at your goal weight forever. Okay. What's up, Shireen? Shireen says, being social, let me set the scene. Game night, group of friends, treats galore across the tables. We sit around it and play a game. I'll make a plate, eat it, and stare at treats as if in a trance. That'll happen, Shireen. But again, there's a couple options moving forward. Number one, you're aware of it. So that's the first good step. Oh, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you, Shireen. I mean, I just made a video on YouTube. You might want to watch it. Why we think about food all the time. And I love that video because, listen, I'm not here to just, I'm not here to like, oh, hey, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about the food. Don't worry about your weight. I'm not saying that. I very much care about your weight in your eating. But I also realize that the way you have learned how to think about your weight and deal with it, in my mind, is completely broken. And I think it even starts with just the foundational piece of what are we? What are we dealing with here? These bodies and these brains we've got. Okay. Because we're all very similar. All of us are the accumulation of a million years of human evolution, millions of years really. But, so you start life as this biological organism that is literally wired to be obsessed with food. That's why you're here, because your ancestors were obsessed with food. And now you step into this world obsessed with food, wired to be obsessed with food. But now the big difference is the entire environment's different, because all that wiring was created in a food scarce environment. Now you find yourself, luckily, in a food abundant environment. But not only is it food abundance, but it's hyper palatable, addictive food abundance. And your biology, your psychology has never had a chance to update to this new reality. And so there's nothing wrong with you, Shireen, to have a plan of eating well and then to sit across from all sorts of hyper addictive, palatable foods and be obsessed with them. So there's nothing wrong with you. I see exclamation points there, Shireen. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a human being. Okay, so we start there. There's nothing wrong with any of you. The fact that you're obsessed with food, please understand that doesn't make you crazy or weird or that makes you a human being. All of us here are on the backs of people that are obsessed with food, because you had to be obsessed with food throughout history if you were going to live, because having enough food to eat was most likely the number one struggle you had to overcome in order to live, to survive. And so you wonder, why am I obsessed with food? Well, because this is your history over a million years. I'm not talking about, you know what I mean? And so, so again, you get that, Shireen, and you make a plan. But there's a multitude of ways to deal with that, Shireen. So let's just go through them a little bit. Shireen's in the program, so I'm just going to kind of walk her through the program approach to it. So the first thing, Shireen, is your mindset. Just starting right off the bat mindset wise, there ain't nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a normal human being who gets triggered by arousing stimuli. Let's keep it scientific, right? That's okay. So the first thing I say, yeah, it's all right. I'm working on this. I want to get better. Now the question becomes, how do I want to be? How do I want to be? Yeah. Oh, mindset of it's gross. Well, yeah. Okay. So what's gross? Eating the food or eating too much of it? Let's get specific. Let's get specific about how you want to behave. Maybe making a plate isn't the right option. Maybe making a plate that's a third of the size of the plate you were making. Okay. So in this case, I can tell you how much we're eating matters. How we eat, you can really break it down into a lot of detail. And most dieters don't do that. I'm going to go there, I'm not going to eat. It's very vague and generalized. But if I were you, Shireen, and I go to game night once a week, and my friends bring all the most delicious foods that ever were created into the situation. I make a plate. I'm going to make one good plate. I'm going to enjoy the plate. I'm going to eat it, and then I'm not going to eat anymore. That's the plan. Okay, well, that's one plan. Maybe that plan works well. Maybe it doesn't, because there's other alternatives. And I'll just give you some of them. Again, clients, I like to walk them through this process, but I'll just give you a couple options and let you go from there. What if one plate is not the right option? Because what if part of being in that social situation is everyone's eating throughout the night? And so what are you going to do? You're going to eat the first half hour, and then all of a sudden you're the weirdo. All of a sudden it feels weird. So maybe instead of having one plate, that's the plan, we say, okay, I'm going to have 3 plates. So I'm going to take the 1 plate quantity and split it into 3 things. So I'll go and I'll make a small little plate, eat it, hang out, enjoy myself for a little bit, look at the food, make a second plate, eat it, and then a third plate and eat it. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But please, Shireen, don't get into the mindset of beating yourself up as if you're a failure because your one strategy didn't work the way you wanted it to. Now, again, that strategy may not work. It may not be the right strategy. Maybe 3 plates is a better option. 1 plate might be the right strategy, and you just need to practice to make it work better. So again, I can't say which is the right strategy, but I know what's the wrong strategy is saying, oh, I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. I failed again. I can't do this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. We just need to be more flexible. This is what dieting's done to us. Dieting has trained us to say, here's your plan, follow it. It's a test. Dieting is modeled on a test. Here's your test. Let's see how you do. Well, I mean, we all know how we're going to do ultimately at the end of the thing, but it's given you as a test. There's no flexibility. There's no trying to understand. I don't know, what's my take on it? Give me the answer. And if it's not the right answer, you're wrong. So you do your diet, you make a mistake, you're wrong, you fail, pass, fail, you're done. Get out of here. See you in 3 months when you try again. And that's how dieters approach their diets. They don't approach the diet and say, oh, I had a plan to go and eat 1 plate. That didn't work. So what else can I do? What could have made that work better? Shireen says, oh, I like the 3 plate idea. Yeah, of course. Why not? It feels better than beating yourself up. It makes you realize you're not the main problem. It's your lack of strategy. Dieters, listen, if you're overweight, it's because you think like an overweight person. You've been programmed with overweight strategies. And so the real secret to become a thin, healthy person is to figure out, accumulate thin and healthy strategies. And you ain't got these yet. That's the part dieters are so impatient. But a lot of that impatience has really been programmed in as well. I mean, we're all impatient to go to college, but because we've been conditioned to think of college as a 2, 4, 8 year thing, we go into it naturally with more patience. When it comes to weight loss, it's been the opposite. When you go on your diet, you're looking at, how am I going to do this week? How do I do today? Did I lose any weight today? Your time frame is so short that it really sets you up for failure right from the beginning before you even get started. Yeah, Shireen says, yes, I'll do 1 plate again, but if I want more, it's an option. I mean, that's my Saturday night pasta routine. If I said, okay, Saturday night, I'm going to have 1 plate of pasta, I wouldn't do it because I would finish the 1 plate and then I'd be like, I usually eat 3 plates. This feels weird. I don't like this. This is a struggle. And maybe I get through the night white knuckling it. And the next week I'll probably eat 6 plates. But so it's like, we have to get more flexible. What really matters is the total volume of food. How we consume that volume, is up to you. And if you get more flexible with it, what you'll find is you can be way more comfortable with it. I can almost guarantee you, Shireen, by the way, that I would not do 1 plate again, but if I want more, it's an option. Because you'll eat a full size 1 plate serving, and then you'll want to eat more. You'll eat more. Now you've eaten more. Okay. So what I would do is I would go into it intentionally saying, I'm going to test out. It doesn't have to be 3 plates. It could be 2 plates. Okay. But, I would do 3 plates because what's easier is to say, okay, I'm going to have 3 plates. So I'm going to take a third, the first plate. You eat that, enjoy it. You do a third, the second plate. By the time the third plate comes around, you might be surprised to find that you don't even want it. Or you might take a little bit less than the third. But regardless, you're still at the same portion size, but it feels different to you. Because again, this is another thing that I think is so fascinating. I wish dieters were just more curious about this, is how you experience hunger. And not just how you experience it, but how you achieve satisfaction is a fascinating thing. It's not as simple as, oh, I eat and I'm full. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot really interesting there. Number one mistake most dieters make, they think, oh, it's the amount of calories I eat. That's what's satisfying me. If I cut my calories down, I'm going to be hungrier. Well, that's only partly true because yes, calories are a factor in how satisfied you feel, but a bigger factor in the short term is the volume of food. So there's a lot that goes into it, little subtleties, little psychological things that go into what feels satisfying to you. And learning what those things are, to me, is just crucial because it allows you to be very creative and strategic with how you eat in a way that feels comfortable. That's the main thing. But I wouldn't, Shireen, I personally, I wouldn't do one plate, expect it to be one plate, but give myself, you know, an opportunity to eat more if I want it. Yeah. Yeah. Shireen says good plan because it really is to see what tastes good. I'm not even hungry. It's all treats. Yeah, exactly. So again, for me, I would almost think of, yeah, I would break it up, you know. Plus, the other thing too that I would take into account if I were you, Shireen, is that most enjoyment of food is actually in the anticipation of it. Just so you all know, you literally have more wiring in your brain for the anticipation of pleasure than the experience of it, which makes a lot of sense when you look at it evolutionarily, that it takes a lot more action and energy to get the food than to actually eat it once you have it in front of you. Right. So we actually get more enjoyment out of the food when we're thinking about it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's just a biological reality. So again, what I would do, Shireen, is you're going to get more enjoyment out of that food if you split it up into 2 or 3 eatings, because then you can look at it. Because what you're doing is, okay, I have a plate. You have the plate pretty much in the beginning, and now you're visually staring at the food the whole night. Your cravings growing up for it. And they feel like they're going up even faster and harder because you're saying, I can't have it. I can't have it. No more. I have my plate. You can't have any more. No more. Stop looking at it. And that's even making them feel even bigger. So what happens if you go in there and say, I'm going to have 2 plates, 3 plates? Start off with something. I'm going to enjoy it. Eat it slowly, mindfully, enjoy the hell out of it. And then I know I've left some room. If I want some more, I can have a little bit more. You've eased a lot of that pressure off right off the bat. And that's one of the best ways ever, because again, I'll have it later. One of the most powerful things you can say to yourself when it comes to managing cravings strategically. What's up, Deanna? How's it going? Deanna says, Jim's message just helps us calm down and make this a process and not a quick fix. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. I want to do something. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, way better. I was messing with my cameras. I know that looked a little dark just now, huh? So it's all fixed. All fixed. Set up my cameras. All right. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. TikTok, I am live here, so I apologize. I caught up on other questions. Mitra says, wait, I just joined. What's the message? What is the message? I don't know. The message is diets suck and there's a better way to lose weight and live at your goal weight. Because again, your goal is not to lose weight. It's to live at your goal weight. That's another huge distinction to make. I can't stress that enough. I like to say it at least 10 times every day, that your goal isn't even to lose weight. There's another mind fuck from the diet company, because they got you so obsessed and breathless about losing weight that you've lost sight of the fact that that's not even your main goal. It's not. You've all lost weight before. Are you happy you lost weight and put it back on? No. So it's not the losing weight part that makes you happy. It's the living at your goal weight part that will make you happier than you can ever imagine in your life. It's awesome. It really is awesome. I mean, I know you probably know that, but you don't really, because you never think about living at your goal weight, folks. You never think about that. No, you don't. You don't. You think about losing the weight. You think about getting to your goal weight. That's how you internalize weight loss. And it's wildly less motivating than thinking about being at your goal weight. Being at your goal weight and living there for the rest of your life on your autopilot is so awesome. It's so awesome. It just frees your mind up so much so that you can do other things in your life. I'm not trying to rub it in, please understand, but I'm saying there's a big difference between being obsessed and fixated on losing weight and being focused and obsessed with living at your goal weight. They're 2 completely different things. And I think that's the starting point, I would say, of what we're talking about here. What's up, Nina? Nina says, great advice. I think we eat until we are stuffed and there is fear about experiencing hunger. I'm getting better at knowing what my body needs. I've lost 6 pounds in 3 weeks, but I'll tell you, listen to you 3 times a day or more. Yes, again, Nina's in the program. So I think you're right too. And again, the hunger thing, it's fascinating. And let me just mention this. Not only is the hunger thing fascinating, but it's completely illogical. So much of our behavior, so much of our thinking and our feelings are completely illogical. And I think most people have a hard time with that. We like to think there are these logical creatures, and we are logical in a way, but we're not consistently logical. What drives most of our behaviors and our thought patterns and our feelings are subconscious associations that are completely illogical. Again, as an example, the ultimate example, Pavlov's dogs. Now, I'm going to say how logical a dog is, you know what I mean? But the idea that a dog would salivate when a bell gets rung doesn't make any sense, because I could do the exact same Pavlov dog experiment to humans. If I get you hungry and I bring you food, and as I bring you the food and you're salivating naturally, I ring a bell or make a sound, and I do that enough times, I can just play the sound and you will salivate. I do this all the time in hypnosis. It's a classic kind of hypnosis, I want to say trick, but experience of imagining someone, have them imagine a lemon. You know, and again, you put them into somewhat of a state of hypnosis, have them imagine a lemon in detail, cut it in half. I hand it to you. You're smelling the lemon. You can smell that lemon scent. You can feel it in your hand. And then I want you to imagine biting into it. Right. And as you do that, you probably start to feel your mouth salivate. So humans do dumb shit all the time, constantly. It's our default setting. Why would you salivate because you're thinking about a lemon? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. And that's what people are constantly saying to themselves about what they think, what they feel, what they behave. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Well, yeah, it's stupid, but it's literally how you operate. So you better get to know the stupid so that you can influence it. And that's the reality I live in, you know? And hunger is like that. I talk about the sushi story. You know, it took me a long time. It took me months and months from the moment I realized when I go get sushi, I get 5 rolls and I am absolutely stuffed every time. And I've been doing that now for years. But all of a sudden, holy shit, I'm so full. Every time I come and get these sushi, it's too much. And then I go the next time and I forgot about it. Oh my God, too much. Finally, I say, oh, you know what? I'm going to get 4 rolls. Okay, go in there. I'm going to get 5 rolls. I don't want to get 4. All of a sudden, at the last second, I freak out. What if I'm hungry? So now I go in there a bunch of times. Okay, get 4 rolls, Jim. Get 4. 5. 5. God damn it. Why don't you just order 5? You'll be fine. All of a sudden, the idea, Jim, if you're still hungry, you can order more. It's a sushi place. Oh, okay. Okay, 4 rolls. 4. You know, get the 4 rolls and finish them. Holy shit, I'm still full. Oh my God. I wasn't hungry. I'm not hungry. Is that logical? I would say no. Is it real though? Yes. And so again, I think, Nina, absolutely that hunger is like, it's a weird thing. And you have this irrational fear you're going to be starving, you know, and it's irrational. It doesn't make sense. So trying to understand it, it doesn't help. That's why mental subconscious programming, in my opinion, is the real path, you know, to success. Carmel says, I've lost 10 pounds since reading your book 4 weeks ago. Thank you. All right. That's what I like to hear. So a screenshot of that. That's a good one. Nice. I love to hear it. This is the book she's talking about. The Tao of Living at Your Goal Weight. Yes. This is my book. I wrote this book. My first real book, although, you know, bone to pick with that because I wrote this book too, The Goal Weight Blueprint. This comes with the program though, so I guess it may not be considered a book, even though it's 144 pages of solid gold. But this is the first official book. So yes, this is available, and it's a game changer. Then it's been, I will tell you, a blast. The best part of writing a self-help book, if you want to call it that, is everyone talking about how much it's helping them, which is pretty cool. Which reminds me actually too, and it's been fun. I'm going to look it up right now in real time because I always forget. We'd gotten, where are we at right now? In terms of reviews, it's been fun. Reading the reviews is fun too, but even hearing, 79 5-star reviews. All right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So that's awesome. Carmel, keep it up. Yeah, this book's awesome. 40 chapters. Each chapter is a page or two. And each chapter is a hypnotic story. So it's not just the same diet bullshit. It is actually meant to be read and change you while you read it. That's the point. That's the goal. And it seems like it's doing that. So that's pretty cool. So thanks for sharing that, Carol. I appreciate it. Keep it up too. Deanna says also for Shireen, try making a healthy snack like a smoothie or apple before you go to the game night. Yes, Deanna. Deanna's a superstar. So she knows the strats. Yes, the There's so many things. Here's the thing, Shireen, and this is for all of you, right? It's the attitude first. So we go somewhere and we say, oh, I'm going to only have one plate. And then we go have 3 plates. Oh God, why'd you do that? You said you only have 1 and then you did 3. And we get in that loop. It doesn't move you forward at all. Beating yourself up doesn't help you at all. What helps you say, I wanted to go in there and eat 1 plate, 3. What's going on? What can I do better next time? If I go back in time and do it over again, what would I have done differently? What's something I could try here? What's something I could do there? What's something I could do there? The more you get obsessed with that, the quicker you start to uncover amazing solutions and strategies. And your weight is directly a reflection of the solutions and strategies you've got access to. I'm not at my goal weight because of willpower. I'm at my goal weight because I've got amazing custom-made solutions and strategies at my disposal. That's the secret. So that great suggestion, Deanna. It says, Jim, that message of the goal being living at the goal weight is probably the number one thing that helped. Yeah, I bet. Right. That's why I say, that's really my core message is living at your goal weight, living at your goal weight, living at your goal weight. And this is the thing, living at your goal weight is the number one thing dieters just put off. Right. Because let's be honest, you're going to go on your diet, you're going to lose your weight. What happens when you get to your goal weight? I'll figure it out. 85, 95% of dieters that lose weight put it back on, but I'll figure it out. Did you figure it out last time? No. What's different this time? I don't know. I'll figure it out. You got to stop that. You've got to stop that. You're procrastinating on the number one thing you want, which is living, the living part, the living at your goal weight, not the dramatic period of time where I change everything to lose weight. You already know that part. The real part is living at your goal weight. That's the goal. You've never focused on it either, by the way. Just, that's bullshit. No one knows how to live at their weight. Yeah, no one knows how to live at their weight because no one focuses on it. There's not even a program I can think of. There must be. I'm sure there is. I'm just not thinking. But what's a weight program you've ever even heard of that's all about living at your goal weight? Don't tell me Weight Watchers. Don't say it. Because again, to me, I don't know. Everyone gets to decide. I feel like that video got darker. Again, Program Yourself Thin's built around the goal weight pyramid, mindset, lifestyle, eating. We break it down into subcategories. But if you're going to live at your goal weight, don't you think you're going to need more than just a meal plan? Don't you think you're going to need probably a new way of thinking, a new way of living, a new way of eating, All right. I'm messing with the screen a little bit. Get it set up. Is that better? I guess that's better. I got 2 different screens I'm looking at. That's why it's messing with my head. I am not a cameraman. I'll tell you, I don't know. We all got kind of blocks in our lives with certain things. My block is camera setups. I should not be allowed near a camera. I don't know if I've ever gotten it right. The worst thing I can see on a camera, I'll go through the thing and say, okay, how do I set my camera up right? The most terrifying thing says, take it off automatic. I was like, oh, what? I take it off automatic and I screw it up every time. Anyways. Yeah, Nina says, I bought the book. Is amazing. Yes, this book is amazing. I'm not going to lie. It really is something else. It really is. I know I'm biased. Obviously, I'm tooting my own horn, but this book, something else. Go check it out. It says, sometimes with the treats or in the sushi store, it's not a hunger thing. It's like, I want to try everything and sample the different flavors. Yeah, sometimes I just have a small taste of a lot of things and toss the rest. Wasteful, but it works. Yeah, no, I respect that, Deanna, for sure. For me in the sushi thing though, it was hunger. Like I literally, I could not believe it. And it took me months and months and months to really understand it, identify, become aware of it. But for me, I genuinely was worried to order one less roll of sushi because I thought I was still going to be hungry at the end. It's so wild that I thought that, but I love that strategy of getting different things. And if you're okay with, tossing out the stuff you don't eat, I think that's a great strategy. A lot of people struggle with that and I get it. But at the end of the day, you're flushing it down the drain one way or the other. It's either going in the trash or in the toilet, So I think, if you are okay with getting rid of excess food, which is It's hard too, by the way. That's another one of those things that we have evolved to never waste food, because food was really, really, really valuable and important throughout all of our history, until 50 years. It's still important. You get what I mean? But we live in an abundant society now, and that's wonderful, but it also brings the challenge of weight issues, But yeah, if anyone got any questions, feel free to ask them. Oh, I just saw a good comment there. Let me get to it in 1 second. I just want to make sure if I missed any. I don't know. TikTok. Fix your questions. Make it easy, please. As Christine says, that's me. Like they're going to run out. No, I know, but it's irrational, right? It doesn't make sense. Like, oh, I'm going to be hungry. I'm not going to be able to get any more. It doesn't make sense. And a lot of people will use that not making sense as being like evidence that they're stupid or there's something wrong with them or they're broken. Like me, like, oh my God, what's wrong, Jim? You think they're not sushi? What are you, an idiot? Are you a fucking moron? That's how I talk to myself. And it's like that. It's just not helpful. I always joke that if you're if being mean to yourself worked, that wowould be what I did for a living. You know what I mean? Like my client would come out and say, oh, you fucking asshole, you moron, you loser, and it's, that's just, it doesn't work. I would do it if it did. Jane, sorry, Jane. I did ask that question. I got lost in whatever. No, I was not here. Friday, Monday, there was no live. So, yeah, sorry about that. I saw you had that question and I missed that. So no live. There was no live Friday or yesterday. It was a holiday here. I guess Canada calls it Family Day. I never knew that. We call it President's Day, which I was just kind of reading about that. That's kind of weird because I guess we used to have Washington and Lincoln. Were they both holidays and they merged them or something? I don't know. I'm a little confused on the holidays, to be honest. But yeah, sorry about that, Jade. I saw you ask that. I just got caught up. Mish says, just joined your live. Are you on a GLP-1? I am not on a GLP-1. No, I lost 50 pounds over 30 years ago, and I did it in a way that I think was kind of unique. It was really a holistic, comprehensive approach, I would say, that again, really was built around, managing my mindset, my lifestyle, my eating, learning how to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. All right. So yeah, GLP-1s, I don't know. I mean, I'm not here to talk shit about GLP-1s because I'm here to support anyone who wants to lose weight, GLP-1 or not, or whatever you're doing. So I like to say that first. That being said, I mean, I don't know, the more these GLP-1s are around, the less I'm liking them. I think they're great for certain people. I think they're a lifesaver for a lot of people. But I also think that what I don't like is the beliefs that get reinforced or created from all the marketing they do. The idea that that's the only way you can lose weight and keep it off. And that part I don't like too much, but no GLP-1s here. Well, there are people on GLP-1s and you're welcome here, by the way, but no, not in this body. I'm not doing that. All right. Carmel's going to write a review. Thank you. Let's get me to 80. If you do the next review, you'll be the 80th review. That'd be pretty cool. Bulldog AF says, I've got an idea for an addiction help book that hits where no one has that I know of. That's great, Bulldog. Yeah, write it up. I will tell you, just on that note, this was my first official, like I said, I got my workbook, which I consider a book, but this is my first official book that's selling and all that. And I don't think I would have ever done it. I got to speak with someone who's a pretty prolific author. And he really changed my mindset in one conversation about making a book, because I'd always built it up into be this huge thing. It's really not, not this day and age. I wrote it. You can self-publish these days on Amazon. It doesn't even cost you anything. It's crazy. What a world we live in. So go write that book, Bulldog. The world probably needs that approach, Carmel says, I realized I needed to sleep more and then I could make better decisions with more energy. Hey-oh, all right. That's what we're talking about here, is that if you can take a step back and focus on the little things. That's my new favorite quote in the whole world is this one. Oh, I don't have it here. Hold on. This quote is so important to me that I'm going to actually pull it up. And I should just know it by now. It's pretty. The secret of all victory lies in the organization of the non-obvious. That is literally my favorite quote of all times. And I couldn't think of anything more true. That I think dieting is the opposite of that, right? Dieting is obsessed with the one obvious thing, which are calories, and it ignores everything else basically. And in my opinion, I think of it as the opposite, which is why literally we do this, we do the goal weight pyramid, because I believe that all of these things are pretty much the non-obvious things. Even the eating piece, it's really the non-obvious pieces of eating. And I think when you really get the non-obvious pieces in order, it's transformative, and it's the most effective thing I believe you can do. So yeah, not even surprised, Carmel. Great job. Keep that up. And again, that is intrinsic in the book, is really all these ideas that are small, simple, and easy to implement. Carmel says it's pancake day today. Is it? I didn't even eat any pancakes. That's all I need too to make some pancakes. Although I don't know, I'm kind of like, I'm good with pancakes. I don't know. I've eaten enough pancakes in my life. I feel like I got into waffles for a while. It's funny. I remember buying my daughter, she's probably like 8 or 9 years old. We bought our waffle maker, and then we got into waffles for a while, and I'm kind of done with those too. My new thing I feel like is crepes. Those look pretty good to me. I was watching something about a crepe yesterday. It was actually I don't know if you ever watched this show, What Phil Eats or something. It's on Netflix. I love that show. He travels around and tries the food, all that stuff. But he went to Amsterdam, and he went to the smallest restaurant in Europe, and it was like, I don't know, the 3rd floor, but they made pancakes there, but they look like crepes, really. I don't know. They call them pancakes. Anyways, now I'm thinking about that. I'm gonna make some pancakes this weekend, but they're gonna be crepes. So, Healthy Habits Ireland says starting 40 days of Lent tomorrow. Any advice on how to continue after Easter? Ooh, well, I mean, listen, yeah, Phil Rosenthal. That's right. That's his name. Yeah, he's funny. I like him. Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So here's the problem. I mean, Lent in essence it's a diet basically, right? Because for 40 days, you're going to do this thing for 40 days. And so at no point is it really coded in your mind as being a long-term way I'm going to live. It's a temporary thing you're going to do for a little while, right? Now, again, Lent's got a different motivation behind it than dieting, but it presents the same way, that I'm going to do this thing until something happens, Lent until 40 days are up, dieting until I get to my goal weight. But again, in your mind, you code it as a temporary thing. So I think in that sense, how you're doing it and what you're doing it, you're always going to think of as a temporary thing. So how I would get the most value out of Lent possible is I would pay attention to how I feel when I act differently. So with Lent, you pretty much know you're going to eat differently. You know that for a fact. You're not really going to have to worry about motivation. You just know you're going to do it. So that's something interesting to reflect on. How all of a sudden, just because it's Lent, you can act totally different. That's fascinating. And that really speaks to your motivation. When you're truly motivated about something, you can do things that in other situations would seem impossible. So the way you'll eat during Lent would almost be impossible any other 40 days of the year. Why? You're the same person, but you think of Lent differently. It means more to you because of your belief system. So that's one thing to reflect on. The other thing I'd focus on is that those changes you actually make, less alcohol, less certain foods, whatever it is you're choosing to give up for Lent or change, pay attention to how you feel and pay attention to the little things. Don't just look at the scale and see how it affects your weight. Start to notice how it affects your sleep. So let's just say, for example, for Lent, you're going to give up sugar. Let's just say that, or you're going to cut it down at least. Pay attention to how your sleep's affected, how your hunger is affected, how your eating's affected, how your energy is affected, how your cognitive thinking is affected. Start to pay attention to the subtleties. Notice how your emotions are affected, how your energy through the day is impacted. Pay attention to all these little things. So it's not just, how much weight did I lose over Lent because I did that? That's fine too. But pay attention to the small, subtle shifts that happen, because then you start to put those in your mind to reprogram yourself. Oh, when I cut down sugar, I feel a lot better. My moods are better. This is better. I do better. All the things improve. That's how I would use it, but that's it. Because whatever you do during Lent isn't going to be applicable the rest of the year because you code them differently. So there's my suggestion to you. All right, everyone, we get out of here. If you're not in my world, make sure you go click the link in my bio. If you're on TikTok, you can click the picture of me up on the top left. You'll be brought to my bio. Click that link in the bio. Takes 3 seconds. Go over there, get the hypnosis session I give you. Get in my world. I email out regular things, specials, free things all the time. Go get in there. If you're in YouTube or Facebook land, I put the comment in the link in the comments, but I'll put it again. If you're not in my world here, go click this link and get in there. Yeah, and you'll get that. It's free session. Okay. It's a new Thin Me Kickstart session. Really good one. Go check it out. And I'm here live every day, Monday through Friday. So if you like this, if you have questions about weight, please get on here. I'm happy to help you. You know, that's literally, I'm here to help coach you and help you get better results. And if you can't make the live, it's also a podcast. Podcast is called Program Yourself Thin. Go to any podcast, search it, and you will find it. Moira says, join the program. It's well worth it. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, the program is available as well. But there's also a book. You know, this is a nice first step. So if you've never heard me, you never heard of the program much, you want to kind of dip your toes in, this is the best way to dip your toes in. Well, getting the free hypnosis session, I think is probably the best way. That's free. But then this here, I think is you won't be upset. I heard some people are saying this is the best weight book they've ever read in their lives. Wow. Amazing to hear that. So again, this is available on Amazon. Kindle's $2.99, I think, and the physical version's $10. A very powerful book. So that's available now. Go check that out. And thanks for listening. I really appreciate all your comments, questions. It was really good. Moira says the book's really good too. Thank you, Moira. I appreciate you saying that. Yes. So thank you so much. I'll be back again tomorrow. Have a super day. And we'll talk soon. Bye.